A hotel room. A man lay unconscious in the tub. Suddenly, his eyes opened. There was blood on his forehead, and a strange injection-like device lay on the floor. He staggered to the mirror and stopped. He couldn't even remember his own face, as if his entire memory had been erased. He put on the clothes kept there and left the bathroom. He opened the wardrobe. Inside was a suitcase with the initials KH. Inside the suitcase were some clothes and a postcard with a picture of a place called Shell Beach. Seeing it, a memory suddenly flashed through his mind. A childhood memory of playing on Shell Beach. Just then, the phone rang. The man snapped out of his thoughts and picked up the receiver. On the other end was a doctor. His voice was slow and serious. He said, "You're in a dilemma, aren't you? And you're scared too. Now listen to me carefully. I want to help you. An experiment was being conducted on you, but something went wrong. All your memories have been erased." Hearing this, the man became restless. He asked, "What do you mean? And who am I?" The doctor said, "Now is not the time to explain. Some people are very dangerous. They are looking for you to destroy you forever. Get out of there immediately." As they were talking, the man saw something that made him freeze. Leaving the phone, he walked toward the bed. Right next to the bed lay a corpse, the body of a woman whose skin had been cut with a sharp object, creating strange circular spiral marks. It looked as if she had been killed as part of some religious or ritual practice. A blood-stained knife lay near the body. The man trembled in fear. Without a moment's delay, he grabbed his suitcase and ran outside. As soon as he left the room, 3 tall, broad men dressed in strange clothes came out of the elevator and started walking toward the same room. Their white faces looked like ghosts. Seeing them approach, the man rushed down the stairs. It was exactly 12 o'clock at night. Then he saw a woman sleeping inside a phone booth, holding her phone. He found it strange. When he opened the door, the woman collapsed, as if she hadn't been asleep but unconscious. As he moved forward, he noticed all the hotel guests and staff lying there, unconscious. But leaving them behind, he kept running away. Just then, someone called out to him, "Mr. John Murdoch, please wait." The man looked back. It was the receptionist who had now woken up. Along with him, all the unconscious people had also awakened. The woman lying on the floor then got up and walked away as if nothing had happened. Although the man ignored it, he now knew his name was John Murdoch. The receptionist continued, "Mr. Murdoch, I got a call from the Automat restaurant. You forgot your wallet there. You'd better get it back. You have to pay the hotel bill for 3 weeks anyway." Hearing this, John was startled. He had no recollection of what he had been doing there for 3 weeks. He left the hotel immediately. He threw his suitcase in the water and ran away. Meanwhile, the receptionist sensed something was wrong with John. When he went to John's room to investigate, the 3 strangers grabbed him and threatened him, demanding to know where John was. The frightened receptionist told them that John had left just 5 minutes ago. Then one of the strangers placed his hand on the receptionist's face and said, "Go back to sleep." The next moment, the receptionist collapsed unconscious. Meanwhile, a woman named Emma was singing at a club in town. She was John Murdoch's wife. After the show ended, one of her colleagues handed her a visiting card. It had been left for Emma by an unknown man who introduced himself as John's doctor. Emma went straight to the address. It was the same doctor who had previously warned John over the phone. He was a psychiatrist named Dr. Schreiber. Emma was surprised to learn that John had been in contact with the doctor for quite some time. The doctor explained that John was mentally disturbed. Because of the rift in their relationship, Emma confessed that John had discovered her affair 3 weeks earlier. He left home in anger and hadn't returned since. The doctor warned Emma that John had been deeply traumatized by her betrayal, causing him to lose his memory and fall into poor mental health. It was dangerous to be around John in such a state. Emma was shocked to hear this. The doctor told Emma that if she had any information about John, she should immediately inform him. Meanwhile, a police team had arrived at the hotel from which John had fled sometime earlier. Strangely, the hotel receptionist had changed. However, his clothing and manner of speaking matched the previous receptionist. Inspector Bumstead arrived at the hotel room where John had been staying. There, his team discovered the body of a woman who had been slashed with a knife by the murderer. The body belonged to a call girl. However, Bumstead wasn't surprised by the sight of the body, as he had seen 5 similar cases in the past few days. This was a case of serial killing. The murderer was targeting call girls. He would kill them and leave spiral marks on their bodies. Until now, the murderer had eluded the police. But after this murder, Inspector Bumstead was completely convinced that the killer was John Murdoch. A short while later, Bumstead was at the police station when a constable approached him. carrying the fingerprint report found at the crime scene. As soon as Bumstead saw the report, his eyes widened in shock. That fingerprint was in a perfect spiral shape. For a moment, he couldn't understand what he was seeing, because human fingerprints are never so curved or spiral-shaped. This wasn't normal, and perhaps not even human. Meanwhile, John was sitting alone on the roadside. His eyes were fixed on his fingers. He was staring at his fingerprints. The strange thing was that all his fingerprints were in a perfect spiral shape, just like the fingerprints found at the crime scenes. A thought flashed through his mind. Am I the murderer? Had I brutally killed the call girl found in the hotel room? However, John couldn't believe it. When he looked away from his fingers, he saw a restaurant called The Automat, the same restaurant where the hotel receptionist had told him he had forgotten his wallet. John retrieved his wallet from there and checked it. It contained a photo of his wife Emma and his home address. John started walking towards his house. Then, on the way, he saw an advertisement billboard for Shell Beach. He had seen a postcard of the same beach in his suitcase. Hoping he might find some clue to his past, John approached the advertisement board. He happened to feel his coat pocket and found newspaper cutouts reporting the murders of 5 previous call girls. John was terrified, as all these clues pointed to him being the murderer. Before John could recover from the shock, the strangers in black suits arrived. One of them extended his hand and told John, "Now go to sleep." But it had no effect on John. The strangers were also taken aback. They tried to kill him. John was terrified, and suddenly, an invisible energy burst from his mind, shattering the floor and sending all the strangers tumbling down. Seeing this, one stranger exclaimed, "He can tune!" With that, he confronted John. But during the fight, the stranger's head exploded after being hit by the massive arm of the Shell Beach model. At that very moment, John witnessed a horrifying sight. A worm-like creature with tentacles emerged from the stranger's head and died on its own. Terrified, John immediately fled. He wondered what those creatures disguised as humans were. There was a whole colony of them underground, calling each other strange names like Mr. Quick, Mr. Hand, Mr. Knight, and Mr. Face. They also had a leader named Mr. Book. Something about John made them consider him a serious threat, and they were searching for him everywhere to catch him. Meanwhile, John went straight to his house and met Emma. Emma was very worried about John, but John didn't even recognize her. Emma told John everything. John discovering Emma's affair, his leaving the house in anger, and his loss of memory. But John's face remained expressionless, as he couldn't remember anything. Then Emma gave him Dr. Schreiber's card, and told him that Dr. Schreiber could help him. John was just leaving to meet the doctor when Inspector Bumstead arrived and pointed a gun at him. Bumstead had been keeping an eye on John's house for quite some time, and now John was trapped. But then Emma pushed Bumstead away. Seizing the opportunity, John immediately ran down the stairs. But when he reached the bottom, he saw that it was only a basement. He had missed the exit. John was terrified. But then, once again, John's invisible power caused a door to open in the wall. John escaped through it. As soon as he left, the door vanished, leaving Bumstead bewildered, just rubbing his hands. John was on his way to the doctor's office in a taxi. He saw a picture of Shell Beach with the taxi driver. He asked, "Have you ever been to Shell Beach? Do you know the way there?" The driver laughed and said, "Are you kidding? Who doesn't know the way to Shell Beach? I went there for my honeymoon just a few days ago." After saying this, the driver suddenly became quiet. Strangely, he couldn't remember the way to Shell Beach. They arrived at the doctor's office. The doctor was sneaking off somewhere. John followed him. The doctor came to a pool and sat there for hours. A little while later, when the others had left the pool, a stranger in a black coat appeared. Seeing him, the doctor trembled with fear. The stranger said to the doctor, "Dr. Schreiber, it's unfortunate that we have to come to see you here. Do you know how much this damp place causes us pain? Now tell me, why didn't you report to us? You failed to implant a new memory in John Murdoch's brain. Don't lie, because this broken injection found at John's hotel is proof that his memory hasn't been replaced yet." Hearing this, the doctor said, "Forgive me, I was going to inject him with a new memory. But he suddenly woke up, attacked me, and ran away." The stranger asked, "Does he have no memories now?" The doctor replied, "Just a few vague memories because the procedure wasn't completed." The doctor continued, "But what's the harm? Just once I get hold of him, I'll inject a new memory into him. Anyway, you've probably made this kind of mistake before when you've changed someone else's memory, right?" But the stranger's face hardened. There was fear in his eyes. The stranger said, "This John Murdoch isn't just any ordinary person. He can tune." Hearing this, the doctor was stunned. He said, "That's impossible. I thought only you people have the power to tune." Meanwhile, John was secretly listening in. The stranger said to the doctor, "We're giving you one more chance. Doctor, find John as soon as possible and inject him with a new memory. We'll meet you again tonight after the tuning process. This time there must be no mistakes, Doctor." With this warning, the stranger left. John followed the doctor. After a while, the doctor came to a wall in a secluded area. Suddenly, a door appeared and the doctor went inside. As soon as he entered, the door disappeared. John stared at it in astonishment. Some time later, the doctor was in the stranger's colony, where the strangers were manufacturing random items like family photo albums, personal diaries, identity cards, and wallets in a factory. The doctor was preparing some injections in a lab. He was mixing old memories into an injection like the components of a medicine. These memories were packed like liquid substances into separate vials. Such memories included memories of a great lover, stories of triumph, a brief childhood tragedy, and a family tragedy. All these memories were stored in separate vials. The strangers possessed such advanced chemistry that even the doctor was amazed by it. The doctor's job was to combine these different memories and prepare injections. He prepared numerous injections of memories in this way. Meanwhile, in a small house in the city, a poor couple was discussing their problems over dinner. The man had lost his job, so they were worried about how they would run the household and raise their children. Just then, the clock struck 12 a.m. As soon as the clock struck 12, the entire city seemed to stop, along with the hands of the clock. Cars, buses, trains all stopped, and everyone fell asleep wherever they were, even that poor couple. But there was only one person who didn't sleep. It was John Murdoch. John couldn't believe his eyes. He tried to wake people up, but they were all motionless, as if they were lifeless. This was all the work of the strangers. Their leader, Mr. Book, stood in front of a large clock, the time frozen at 12 o'clock. Then Mr. Book told his fellow strangers, "Begin the tuning process." Hearing this, all the strangers looked at a giant circular machine and started making strange noises. At that very moment, something terrible happened. The entire city began to change. Where there had once been a road, a skyscraper was built. Small houses turned into tall buildings. More floors were added to many buildings. In many places, new towers and water tanks suddenly emerged from the ground. In this way, the entire city was transformed. All of this was happening right before John's eyes. John was stunned. Just then, John saw a door appear in the wall once again. From that door, the doctor and a group of strangers emerged. They were carrying an unconscious man. They placed him in a barbershop and posed him as if he had been getting a haircut for a long time. Then, the doctor injected the man's forehead with memories, meaning old memories. In this way, they continued transferring people from one place to another, changing their lives and injecting memories into their minds. Finally, they reached the home of the couple who were suffering from poverty. They dressed the man, woman, and their children in new clothes. Then, the doctor injected new memories on everyone's foreheads, and the strangers transformed their small house into a large bungalow. After this, the doctor began to leave, but then John appeared before him. The doctor was terrified at the sight of John. Angrily, John asked the doctor, "What's going on, doctor? Who are these men in black? And why are they doing all this? And why did you erase my memory? Answer me!" As John shouted, an invisible force burst from his forehead, throwing the doctor back. The doctor was shocked. He said, "I can't believe it, John. You really have their powers. They call this power tuning. This is how they transform the city. What's amazing is that you're more powerful than them, because they can only use this power together. But you're the only one who can tune alone. John, come with me. I'll teach you how to control these powers, and together, we'll free this city from them." But just then, John saw the strangers approaching and fled. With that, the clock started again, and the city and its people returned to life. But something shocking happened. The man the strangers had brought to the barbershop didn't seem surprised to find himself there. He behaved as if he had willingly come for a haircut. The couple also started behaving as if they had always been rich. Even their mannerisms had become aristocratic. Meanwhile, Mr. Book, the leader of the strangers, was planning to transform the city again tonight. A stranger said, "Mr. Book, John Murdoch's powers are hindering our work. We must do something about him." Just then, a stranger named Mr. Hand arrived with the doctor. He said, "If John has our powers, we also have his memory. The memory we were going to implant in his brain. But now we will transfer his memory into us and connect with John's mind. We will see the memories of every place he has been." By following those memories, we will find him. Mr. Hand instructed the doctor to begin the process. The doctor strapped him to a ring-like device and injected John's memories into his brain. Then a terrifying memory flashed. A memory of John brutally killing call girls. So, was John really the serial killer? Or was the truth something else? Now Mr. Hand's mind was connected to John's. Meanwhile, John was on the run from both the police and the strangers. During this time, he was reading the Shell Beach postcard. It read, "Johnny, I found this postcard among your mother's old things. Seeing it must bring back some old memories, right? Come meet me when you're free. Give my love to Emma." Carl. John couldn't figure out who this Carl was. Then he looked closely at the picture of Shell Beach on the postcard. There was a label that read, K. Harris and Company, Fisheries, meaning Carl Harris. At that moment, John remembered his suitcase. That suitcase also had the initials KH. John realized he might find a clue from Carl Harris. He looked up Carl Harris's address in a telephone directory, Avenue C. He asked a nearby magazine vendor for directions to Avenue C. Then John realized that this magazine vendor was the same receptionist from the hotel where John had awakened. His face was the same, but his identity was completely different. John said to him, "Hey you, when did you start working here?" The man said, "Are you crazy? I've been working here for the last 25 years. The meaning was clear. The strangers had also altered his memories. They could completely change not only a person's memories, but also their identity. It seemed as if they had always lived as the person they were made to be. John was slowly beginning to understand all this. John left the place and wandered around until he finally reached Avenue C. When he met Carl Harris, Carl was happy to see John and told him that he was John's uncle. But John didn't recognize Carl at all. Then Carl showed John his childhood photos. He explained that John's old home was at Shell Beach. He lived there with his parents. But one day, their house caught fire. His parents died in that accident. Carl saved John and raised him. John was surprised to hear this, because he had no memory of such a childhood or such an incident. Meanwhile, John asked Carl, "If I'm not mistaken, you had a fishing company on Shell Beach, right? So, can you tell me the way to Shell Beach?" But that was strange. Carl had lived his whole life on Shell Beach, yet he couldn't remember how to get there. John continued looking at the photographs. Then he noticed something in one of them. Seeing it, John said, "That little boy can't be me." He saw that the little boy in the picture had a badly burned hand. John said, "If my hand was burned so badly as a child, the mark should still be on my hand." But look, John showed Carl his hand. There was no such mark. John realized that the past Carl had told him was a lie. Neither Carl was his uncle, nor was Emma his wife. In reality, the strangers were trying to alter John's memories and identity. Just as they had made a poor couple rich, they were trying to turn John into a murderer. The name John Murdoch wasn't even his real identity. It was the identity the strangers were going to give him. Also, the strangers had changed Emma and Carl's memories, making them believe they were John's relatives. Emma and Carl were actually someone else. The doctor working with the strangers had erased John's real memories, but somehow failed to implant new ones into his mind. That's why John couldn't remember his past at all. But why were the strangers doing this? Why were they making the poor rich? Why were they switching one person's identity with another's? This was still a big question for John, and only the doctor could answer it. John immediately left Carl's house, but unfortunately, he was caught by Inspector Bumstead. Bumstead arrested him and brought him to the police station. Bumstead still believed John was a serial killer, all because of the strangers. The strangers had also planted fake memories in the minds of Bumstead and the other policemen, making them believe that a serial killer had murdered 5 call girls in the past few days, and that the police had been working on this case for a long time, but none of it had happened. These memories were implanted just 2 days earlier, but Bumstead and the others felt like the investigation had been going on for weeks. Not only that, but the strangers had placed a call girl's body in John's hotel room, so that he would be blamed for her murder. John tried hard to convince Bumstead, but Bumstead wouldn't believe him. Then John asked a question that shocked Bumstead. John asked, "Have you ever been to Shell Beach?" Bumstead smiled and said, "Are you joking? Who doesn't know the way to Shell Beach?" John said to him, "Then tell me the way to Shell Beach." Bumstead replied, "To get to Shell Beach, you just go from here." But Bumstead got stuck there too. John said, "I knew you wouldn't remember anything either." "Okay, forget that. You must know the last thing you did during the day. I'm not talking about childhood memories. You must remember something from yesterday or last week when you did something in the sunlight." Bumstead tried hard to think. John said, "I knew you've never seen sunlight either, because there is no sunlight in this place. I've been awake for hours. It's only night here. There is no morning. Inspector, believe me, I don't know what this city is or why we are here. But I know one thing. We are trapped. And there are some strange people in black suits. They are playing with our lives. But after hearing this, Bumstead became extremely irritated. He said, "Stop talking nonsense. There must be some scientific explanation for all this." Then John focused on a book and made it float in the air with his power. John said, "What explanation can you give for this?" Bumstead was stunned. A short while later, Emma came to meet John. Emma, too, had begun to believe that John was the murderer. She started apologizing, saying that it was all her fault. She wasn't close to him anymore. If she hadn't had an affair, John wouldn't have left home, and he wouldn't have become mentally disturbed. But John said, "Emma, you'll be surprised to hear this, but you never had an affair with anyone. You didn't cheat on me. If I tell you that we met just a day ago, and we didn't even know each other before that, would you believe it?" Emma listened carefully to John. John continued, "Emma, all the memories you have about us meeting 4 years ago, falling in love, getting married, and then fighting, which supposedly made me unstable and start killing girls, these memories are all false. They were planted in your mind just a day ago, but they must feel like your real memories, as if they happened long ago. Emma, all this is being done by those strangers. I don't know who they are or what they want." Emma said, "John, no matter what, even if our past is false, my love for you is real." Hearing this, John became emotional. Just then, the police took John away again and locked him in the cell. At that moment, the stranger Mr. Hand arrived at the police station with his companions. Following John's memories, he used his power to put all the policemen to sleep and went to the lockup to capture John. But to their surprise, John was gone. In fact, Bumstead had secretly freed John because he had started believing him. John went straight to Dr. Schreiber. The doctor was relieved to see John alive. John asked directly, "Doctor, my patience is running out. Tell me the truth. Who are those strangers and what is happening here?" The doctor said, "John, for now, all I can tell you is that you and everyone in this city are part of the strangers' experiment." As he said this, the doctor pointed a gun at John and tried to inject him. The doctor said, "John, I can't explain right now. You need to inject this into yourself." But then Bumstead entered and aimed his gun at the doctor. He took the doctor's gun away and threw it aside, and John snatched the injection from the doctor's hand. John asked, "Tell me the truth, doctor. What is in this injection?" The doctor replied, "Believe me, John, it contains all the answers you are searching for." But John put the injection into his coat pocket and said, "If you want to stay alive, doctor, take us to Shell Beach." John and Bumstead immediately left for Shell Beach with the doctor. On the way, John pressured the doctor to tell him more about the strangers. The doctor said, "I don't know who these strangers truly are, but they kidnapped us and brought us to this strange city. This city and everyone in it are just a part of their experiment. They constantly alter our memories, transferring them from one person to another. For example, a man may be an inspector today and become a murderer tomorrow. They change everything, our friends, relatives, and even this city, in a way that makes those memories feel old and real. Through all this, they want to understand humans. They want to learn what makes us different from each other. Are our thoughts shaped by our memories and experiences, or is it something else, like our soul?" Bumstead asked, "But what is their motive behind understanding us humans?" The doctor replied, "Because they are dying. Their entire species is on the verge of extinction. They believe that by understanding us, they can save their own species. In reality, these creatures have a hive mind. That means each stranger doesn't think individually. They are all connected to a single mind. Whatever one stranger thinks is instantly transmitted to everyone else. So they have no individual feelings and no unique identities. But we humans have different personalities. We think in our own ways, and our souls are different, which makes us different from them. They believe this is a blessing they never received, and because of that, their species is in danger. That's why they want to understand how our minds, our souls, and our memories work, so they can make themselves more like us. But their science is far more advanced than ours. If they want to understand the mindset of a killer, they simply insert a killer's memories into the mind of an ordinary person. They give them a fake family, fake friends, and a completely fake past. Just like what they were planning to do with you, John. They must have changed your memories dozens of times before. But this time they wanted to see if giving you the memories of a killer would turn you into a real killer too. But John, look at the miracle of nature. You evolved and became like them. You learned their power of tuning on your own. They use this power to control everything and to build this entire city. They have a colony buried underground with a machine that focuses their mind power. They control everything here, even the sun. That's why it is always dark. They cannot survive in the light. John asked, "But why are you helping them?" The doctor replied, "They needed someone who understood the mind. They taught me their science because they needed me, but they erased my entire past." John asked again, "You say they brought us here, but from where?" The doctor replied, "Sorry, John. I don't remember. No one remembers. Who were we before? Where did we live? What did we do?" While they were talking, the doctor led them to the edge of the city. But there was no sea, only a huge poster of Shell Beach. John angrily tore it down. Behind it was a solid wall. John and Bumstead smashed the wall with a hammer, and the sight in front of them was shocking. Beyond the wall was space. This meant they were floating in space right now. Just then, Mr. Hand arrived with his companions. They had also captured Emma. As soon as Bumstead saw them, he opened fire. A stranger rushed forward to grab his gun, and in the struggle, they both fell off the edge. When they went past the wall, they hit a transparent barrier and died as they were thrown into open space. With this, the truth became clear. The city was circular, floating like a spaceship, and below, it was the Strangers' colony. A transparent shield covered the entire city, making the air breathable. John now understood that the strangers were aliens disguised as humans. Before John could fight back, Mr. Hand knocked him unconscious with his powers and took him to their colony. They tied John inside a large ring and called the doctor. Mr. Book, the leader of the strangers, announced, "Friends, in John Murdoch, we have finally found what we have been searching for, what the doctor calls the human soul. Now, it is time to end this experiment." The strangers wanted to implant their collective memory into John's brain, meaning the memory that connects all the strangers as one. That would completely transform John into one of them and allow them to share his soul. They called the doctor to perform the procedure, but the doctor cleverly replaced the injections containing the strangers' memories with the injections John had taken earlier and kept in his coat pocket. The doctor injected them into John's brain. He had filled that syringe with the memory of John teaching him how to use the stranger's powers. When John regained consciousness, he had learned how to fully control these powers. He was now a completely different person, the one the doctor had prepared to destroy the strangers. As soon as he woke up, John used his power to attack the strangers. He killed them one by one, including their leader. Now John possessed all the powers of the strangers, and he could control their machines and shape the city however he wanted. Using his powers, John created an ocean around the city, just like the Shell Beach he had in his memories. He also turned the city toward the sun, allowing it to see daylight for the very first time. Now John has made the city his own world, where he will live happily ever after with Emma. Thus, evil is destroyed and good finally triumphs. Friends, the story of this film is based on a philosophical theory called Last Thursdayism. This theory is as interesting as it is terrifying, suggesting that the entire world may have been created just last Thursday. Sounds strange, doesn't it? But imagine if this Earth, this universe, fossils, history books, war records, everything in our history, weren't billions of years old but were all created last Thursday. And all our memories were implanted so perfectly that everything feels old. It's terrifying, isn't it? But this is Last Thursdayism, a theory so frightening that, if proven true, it could shake the very foundation of human civilization. In the film, John awakened during the process, which helped him discover the truth. But if this were really happening in our world, how would we recognize the truth? This question is so scary that it's better not to know. So let's end this story here, and see you next time with another fascinating film story. Friends, if you liked this video and got lost in the story while watching, please subscribe to support us, so we can keep bringing you more videos like this. Thanks for watching.